This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and today as my special guest, I have Shannon Hall, who is probably better known to the American Gladiator and wrestling fans as Dallas. She was also a pro boxer. She's been a tough woman. I believe she's even done some wrestling. So quite an interesting interview. How are you doing with the American Gladiators logo in your background there?
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you. This is the actual original logo from the Orlando live show. It was on the top of the thing when we ran to the stadium. So I had a friend salvage this after the show closed and bring it here. So this has got good juju on it every day on my wall.
So before you were in American Gladiators, could you tell us a little bit about your athletic background?
Athletic background, gymnast. So I started really early on in gymnastics, and but I was real tall and skinny, and no muscle to speak of. My legs were so skinny it looked like just two rubber bands with knots tied in them, you know. So I struggled in gymnastics, but I was really good at track. So I was a high jumper and a sprinter in track. So that's my high school background. But I did end up being an All-American cheerleader, and then from there on, I was on the dance squad in college and all that. So I have constantly, and that was a national level cheerleading thing. So constantly been just pounding it as far as getting stronger, leaner, meaner, you know, faster and all that. But in college, I started lifting weights. So when I started lifting weights, I'm like, oh, wow, look, here's some curves on my body, and they were in the form of muscles, you know. So I love the weightlifting, and that boosted me to doing bodybuilding and in Texas and in Dallas, you know, where I tried out for the show. So I was in beast mode during that time, like 23 years old or whatever. So that catapulted me to the show. And from then on, started boxing, kickboxing, and just kicking ass ever since.
What season was it that you debuted on?
Let's see, maybe 6. I think it was 2 years before how many did it go on TV? Because see, we had the TV season, and then we had the live show. So it was 3 years on the live show, and I think 2 years on the TV, which I believe it was 96, 97, and 98, or 96 and 97 on the TV show.
So you were well aware of what the show consisted of when you tried out for it. What drew you to try out on the show?
Oh, I was the biggest fan. So I was the biggest Gladiator fan that there was, and you know, that the way that the women looked, and just, you know, bodybuilder muscularity and the women and all that was just just came out. My idol was Corey Everson. And so I loved her look, and she was a track athlete. I thought we had like all these things in common. So she was on my posters, you know, in high school and college, and I was training, and man, her legs, and I was just like, wow, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So she inspired me to go that direction. And then I saw the American Gladiators, and I was like, wow, there's a bunch of Corey Eversons running around kicking ass. So I was a huge fan. So just ironically, they had tryouts it's between Dallas and Houston, and I saw tryouts on the side of the road. I was like, yeah, let me try out, baby. So there was no bigger fan than me. So I just wanted to be one of them, and just fell into the loop. And now they're all my very best friends, except 1 or 2, of course. But yeah, the rest is history.
What did the tryout consist of?
The tryouts then, there was like a 100-yard dash, which, like I said, I was a track athlete, so I was very fast. I was still, I think I was 185 pounds then, so I was just jacked, you know, so I was real big and strong, 185 pounds. I mean, I wasn't running no 4.40s, but I'm sure it was, you know, like under 5. I was very fast. So we did the 100-yard dash. There was the monkey bars. You had to see if we had some hanging ability, so we had everything was timed. So like we would do the 100-yard dash and then run up and do the monkey bar type thing. And then we did the power ball at the very end. So just to see our agility and stuff, if we could really move. And I remember it was me and Victoria Gay that was trying, that was Jazz on the show. So me and her, she was from Houston, I was from Dallas. So just us as girls that were nobodies were pitted against each other at the very end. And so then we both got picked up for the show. So it was pretty cool.
Who were you closest with on the show?
My best friend was Ice Baby. Lori Fettrick and I were really close, and she showed me the ropes early on. Some of the ropes were kind of crazy. I'm just like, wow, this crazy lifestyle. How do you guys do it? But Ice Baby was my best friend, and we're still best friends to this day. So she really took me under her wing, and we had such a good time. She's like, don't do this, don't do that. That person's cool and they're not. And so she showed me the ropes at the very beginning. So just wonderful, wonderful camaraderie with them.
Now, from the male gladiators I've talked to, there was groupies for the males. Did the females have a lot of guys that were kind of infatuated with them as well?
I don't think as much as the guys. I think girls roll a little bit different. Actually, girls were attracted to us more than guys. So the way that we looked, we were, lesbian magnets. Guys didn't really want anything to do with us, but the girls, I think now Lori, who is a lesbian since she was born, Lori had the most girl groupies of any gladiator of all. She pulled women like no one I've ever seen. So all the guys were like, dude, how do you do? What's your secret? So Lori had the group. I did never have any. I was just learning. I'm still, a student of the game, but Lori had the most groupies of women. I don't remember any of us women having guy groupies. So, that's kind of weird, but yeah, the guys did. The girls were crazy about the guys. So yeah, that's how that went.
Now, Malibu and Titan are the two gladiators I've become friends with over the years.
Right
Any
on.
opinions on them?
Any what?
Any opinion on them?
In what regard?
Like, how were they to work with? I don't know if you crossed paths with Malibu, if he was gone by the time you were part of it.
Well, Malibu and I are in a grudge lock fight right now, and we are not speaking to each other because this last year there was some website or something, and it's mentioned being a part of the American Gladiator live show, and he mentioned something about being on the show and that he was there and a team player. But I was there from day one. I opened the show, I tumbled out, blah blah blah. He wasn't there doing the show very much more than one or two shows. I think he was there prior to the opening of the show just to do some celebrity stuff, just autograph signing, but he was never actually part of our team. Me and Ice and Sky and our other Titan, not the one that you talked to, but the other Titan and Tank, we were very, very close. And we were there for 3 years together. And Darren, who's Malibu, he was not there, but just at the beginning to open the show. So we got in an argument, and I'm like, I don't remember you. I remember you standing. I was like, I remember you standing there with your coat on the sideline a few times. I was like, but you weren't in uniform playing with us when the show was actually going, as a regular team. And we got a huge fight. And he's like, how dare you say this to me? And I'm just like, oh, go F yourself, man. I was there. I didn't remember everything, but I checked with my girlfriends and Lori and Scout. And they're like, no, he was there for a minute. So he said some really shitty things to me on Instagram. Not Instagram, was it? Just Facebook or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm not putting up with this crap, So we're not talking right now. I think he's, a great guy, but we're in a brother and sister fight right now. So we don't put up with any shit. The girls don't. The guys, I said, they talk more shit. We just don't put up with shit. So, and Titan, your Titan, I think I worked with him my last year in Los Angeles. And I only remember he was a really nice guy. He was liked by everyone. But as far as an athlete, I think he was hired on more for, he is like Superman. He's one of the hottest guys I've ever seen. This beautiful face with this body, this incredible package. But as far as a gladiator and athletes, I think he was an alternate starting out when I was, but he didn't get to play very much. So I don't know if they didn't want him to get hurt because, they couldn't use the way he looked, but we all killed ourselves on that show. We played and played and played and got our ass beat so much. So when there's someone like Darren or Mike, that says they're gladiators, but, they haven't put the time and the injuries, we just don't have that innate respect for them as gladiators, I guess you could say. So, but Mike, like I said, everybody loves the guy. I have nothing against him. I don't know him really, really well, but I know he did not play very much. So I didn't see him get his ass beat enough for me to respect him that much. That's just my opinion. So And Darren, I didn't see him get his ass beat, very much. Once or twice or three times, but not 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row. And that's the way that I am. So like I said, I wish them both the best. I think they're awesome, but that's just my experience with them. So maybe it'll change and get better in the future, hopefully.
Now, Darren's admitted that he took steroids over the years. Mike always will claim that he never has. Do you believe that?
No. No, I don't. I think everybody has experimented with them over the years. I didn't get to be on the steroid train because I ended up boxing, and so I think I took a cycle when I first made the show. It's like, hey, you're a Gladiator. Here's some juice, So I did like a cycle when I made the Gladiators, and I got really big, really fast. But I was starting to do martial arts. That did not work for me when I was sparring and stuff. So I didn't do any more after that because I became a professional boxer. And we had a urine test at the time. We had, urine tests like crazy. And, for my boxing license, we were always drug tested. So I didn't really do that much. And that's why I wasn't as big or as lean and all that stuff. So I just had to work, it was my great personality that got me through the show. So I wasn't shredded like my besties and all that. But, thank God, none of us have been really hurt, from doing steroids, and, God's been with us. We lost Lee Rehrman. That was Hawk. That was from, I think he had a hip surgery, a hip joint replaced, and just something freakish happened after that. But everybody's been in great health, so I don't think anybody's done any to the extent of, having a heart attack. I know we lost Thunder as well, but I don't think that was his situation either. But yes, I think everybody's experimented with them. Contenders, no, but Gladiators, yes. Maybe experimented, and some say that some track steroids are like clenbuterol and Winstrol aren't real steroids, but anything I think that alters you that's unnatural is steroids. So that's just the business we were in, like if you're an NFL football player, you're going to try it, and if it's for you, good. And if it's not, you'll go the other way.
Were the contestants tested?
No, I don't think so. I was never tested as a gladiator. So during the Gladiators, I don't think there would be any Gladiators if they were tested, on a regular basis. So I was never tested. I don't think that during that time, for boxing, yeah, because boxing had been around a lot longer, but for the Gladiators, I don't think it was really thought of as a bad thing. People wouldn't be experimenting with them and worried about their health as much as they would nowadays. But no, I don't know if anyone was really tested. If they were tested, maybe it was in private, maybe it was a personal deal, but there wasn't like, hey, here's everybody's random steroid test. So not that I remember that. So yeah, I don't think it was that bad back in the day.
Yeah, and you were more of a TV show than an Olympic sport, so.
Well, we thought we were the only sport on the planet, but our job depended upon the way that we looked and you being lean and muscular like that. So I think our situation and our pressure to look like that, is more worthy of making someone do steroids than an Olympic sport. I think because it was all about, they wanted the bodybuilder look. That's why they didn't test all these people, because they wanted the combination of this larger than life athlete, with someone that was actually athletic, with some personality, so yeah. And I'm saying, now that they're probably going to bring the show back, I think it's going to be a whole different ball game now when the show returns now with the Vince McMahon and MGM and all that stuff. So it's a different world now. No one wants to die of a heart attack when you're out there playing a game. So.
Did any of the contestants ever really get under your skin to the point where you almost wanted to beat them up?
All the time. Yeah, a lot. But it was all in good fun. So it was on, just on the playing field, and they were terrified of us. They were terrified of us, the ones that had just, like the TV show contenders. And, you can see when you're standing in front of them, it's our job to intimidate them. We're like the pro wrestlers, like right in your face. So when we're about to knock the shit, we're trying to intimidate them, and they're just like, just their look is, it's crazy, right? So if they're talking shit, it's not right before the game. It's usually after the game, or the live show in Orlando was different because the contenders got used to us and we became friends with them. So when we became friends with them, that takes away a lot of the fear. And then they started, thinking that they were better. It was a beautiful dynamic. There were such pros and such good athletes. The show was amazing. But no, because I think that level of respect was so high. Just like all of us before we became gladiators, we looked at the gladiators with such respect, and they did the same. So the contenders were first-rate people, just Class A athletes, and just what a great experience to be with that. They were more athletic than us. They were like the athletes. We were like, the avatars, the gladiator avatars. So we respected their athleticism tremendously, but we just couldn't let them know that. So ours was the intimidation factor. So we couldn't say, "Oh, you're so great." We're like, "I'm gonna fuck you up, man." That was it. But we really liked them. That was just for the show.
How was the live show compared to the TV tapings that you guys did?
Well, TV's TV, stop and go, and, cut 2 shows a day. Audience people were in and out, and it was okay. But the live show, we lived together. Basically, we'd go out to eat every. This is for 3 years in a row. The gladiators and the contenders, we all became very, very, very good friends. And on the TV show, we didn't become very good friends with those athletes because our time was limited with them, and they told us not to hang out with the contenders because they wanted us to be very competitive. So we weren't really allowed to talk to the contenders before the show, which was very smart on the part of the producers. That was very smart. I didn't think about that until just now. But during the live show, we were very good friends. And to be honest with you, that was the best time of my life, becoming friends, Ziggy and Tammy, 2 of the contenders that we became really close with. But I'm not even talking to Ziggy right now because he was taking up for Darren. I told him to go fuck off. And I'm sorry, can I say I told him to shut off.
You can say that, sure.
But that's how we are together. We're very blunt and very straightforward, and everybody has their own personality. And if you're talking to somebody that says they were friends with everyone and didn't share beef with anybody, then they're not telling you the truth. But we're true family, brothers and sisters. We fight. We're all tough. We're not going to take anybody's shit. And if we don't talk, we hold a grudge for forever. But the live show for me was the very best because I did, like with Lori and Shirley on Sky and Ice. And I got really close with Shelly Beatty, who's passed away several years ago. She and I became very close. So that live show, having the show 6 days a week enabled us to, become very good friends, and even more so family than ever. So the live show for me was the greatest thing.
Was it the same contenders going from town to town for the live show, or was it locals that you guys would face?
Yeah, it was locals. They had to try out. They were living in the Kissimmee area, so they tried out. And I think the ones that were hired from the beginning made it all the way through to the end. I mean, they were so tough and such great athletes. So it was the same ones, but they shuffled, they rotated some through. There were injuries here and there. So maybe there were 10 total for 3 years because, if you're hurt and you don't play, you don't get paid. So everybody was very careful and was rested, and we're not there trying to hurt each other. So we weren't there balls to the wall every time. We played good games. We played hard with them, and just there was a little bit of acting sometimes. Like if a contender or one of us was hurt, we'll get out there and we're like, okay, my right arm, like before I remember start with someone, I'm like, okay, my right arm's really hurt. All right, so just take it easy. So we would play off each other back and forth like that, and take it easy when it was time to do that, just out of respect for each other, and that's how we kept it going.
Very interesting. What were the crowd sizes like when you were going from town to town?
Well, now the live show, this Orlando live, we had an arena. So we had Gladiator Arena there. So everyone came to us. I did, when I was with the TV show, that was with the live shows that would go place to place, and state to state. We traveled that way during the TV show. But when that closed and the live show opened up, we had the Gladiator Arena in Kissimmee. So everyone came to us. So we would go to work at 4 o'clock, leave about 9 o'clock at night. So we stayed there. And if we did go to other states, it was just for promotional stuff. So there would be gigs in other states, or to judge some shows, or they would pay us as celebrity host or whatever to fly just for other jobs, but not to compete. So we just competed in Gladiator Arena.
Okay, I see. What was the pay like to be on American Gladiators?
The live, let me think what the difference was in both. Now, when I did the TV show, I was starting out, I was an alternate on the TV show. So my pay was the lowest on the totem pole. So me starting out, I think it was like 850 a show as an alternate. So the ones, and you made more and more every year that you stayed. So I'm trying to think. I'm sure it was a couple of grand each show for the starters, that had been there for like 6 and 7 years. But mine was like 850 a show. Sometimes I do 2 shows a day, but you get paid, I got paid while I was there. So for 6 weeks, I got a certain pay just for being there, for being alternate. So that was something. Remember, this was how many years ago? 25 years ago. So the live show, it was like $1,500 a week. So that's when I was doing really good. So it's like $1,500 a week for the live show. And this was for 3 years, 6 days a week, maybe 3-4 hours a night. And then we did the extra stuff on the side as much as we wanted to for a couple of grand a pop. So the money was great. I mean, that's the most money I've ever made doing anything. And I didn't miss any shows, and I was just happy to be there all the time. I had a couple of cars and a condo, and really did not know how to manage money. I'm still struggling with that a little bit, but I had the time of my life with it. So it was great.
Now, your friend Malibu did very successful acting jobs over the years. Did you ever get any offers in the acting regime? Or?
I did, but I chose to be a fighter. I really got into boxing, and I was approached and sent emails, a lot to do movies and all that stuff. But I had my mindset that I was going to be a world champion boxer, first women's world champion in the world. And I was set on doing that, and I didn't want any distractions. So during my time at the Gladiators, I just wanted to fight. So I do the show, but then I started training after the Tough Woman World Championship. When I won that, I got that pro contract. That's all I wanted to do. So I actually I did the Conan O'Brien show, and Gary Marshall, he's passed away. It was Laverne and Shirley was Laverne's dad, Gary Marshall. He had came backstage, and if there's one thing, that I wish I could do over, this would have been it. He came to me backstage, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Gary Marshall. I produce movies." I'm like, "Yeah, I know who you are. Nice to meet you." And he goes, and he gave me his card. He said, "I would really like to have you in some of my films." He goes, "I'm in Los Angeles." We were in New York at the time. He's like, "I'm in Los Angeles. We'll fly you wherever you need to go. I would love to work for you. Love for you to work for me." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. I'll give you a call." I just saw it, and I was just like, I'm fighting and I'm training. I didn't even think twice about it. But if I had something to do over again, I would have done it. So that just showed how dumb I was. Not having good management is really, really bad. So I was not managed by anybody, and I turned down an offer from Gary Marshall that I really wish I would have taken. So for me, I just wanted to fight. So I know Darren did some stunt work and acting, and I did a couple of pilots. I think it was through the show, some Wild Wild West stuff, and being drugged behind horses and stage coaches or whatever. And it was really fun, but it's not where my heart was.
Now you talk about the Tough Women competition that you won. Could you tell us about that in a little bit more detail?
The Tough Woman, I'm sure you remember the Tough Man shows. And Butterbean was one of the Tough Man champions, and he's a good friend of mine. So then there came the Tough Woman, and how that came about for me was I was doing the live show in Kissimmee, and Peter Blaustein, a producer, he's like, "Hey, I have another job here in Bay City, Michigan. They need a celebrity female gladiator to be a celebrity judge for the show." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll do it. I need some extra cash right now because I always spend mine." And I said, "I'll do it." He said, "Okay, here you go. Make this call and everything." So I called them to set it up. 2 weeks later, they called me back and said, "Hey, Christy Martin is going to be the judge here. She's a little bit more in the boxing world, so we don't need you after all because we got her. You know, she's a pro boxer and all that. I was like, okay. I was like, so what is this? What is it now? A tough one? What is it? They said, well, it's boxing. You know, I think you got to fight 3 or 4 times in a day. And I was like, okay, well, so what do you win? And they said, you win 10 grand. I said, what? I said, you win 10 grand. I was like, oh, well, can I do it? And they said, well, have you ever boxed before? And I said, well, I've trained, I boxed all my boyfriends, because I kicked their ass because they're not faithful and do weird shit. Anyway, and they're like, but you never boxed? I was like, no. So they said, so you're amateur? And I said, yes, I'd be amateur. And they said, yeah, you can do it. So I was like, what? So I said, okay, because I'd already taken off that weekend to go there. So I was like, okay, you know what? I think I had 3 weeks to train. So I went in and to a local, I think it was Scrapyard Boxing that was in Orlando. And I had 3 weeks to get ready. So just put on the gloves and went, but I was already in great shape from the Gladiator. So mind you, joust was like my thing. I love to joust. So if you think about it, the joust, every movement, it's like it's throwing punches, right? So I've been jousting, I think it's been for 1.5 years. I was very strong. So basically I just put boxing gloves on and went in there and, just do what I had already been doing for 1 year. And that was in Bay City, Michigan. I fought, 5 girls in 2 days, 5 different matches, and then won the whole thing at the end. And I tell you, most of it came down just to endurance, just because I was in better shape. And I am a fighter naturally. I mean, you can put gloves on me, but I've been in a lot of fights. I'm from Arkansas. Shit, that's all we do. So, and after that, I won the pro contract. And then Butterbean and I toured together. He was a tough man champion. I was a tough woman world champion. We went all over the United States and, went to New York. And I was the first woman to fight in Madison Square Garden. So that brought a history-making moment to me. And I walked in the garden. I was the first woman, me and my opponent, Tara Fernandez, were the first women to ever fight in there. So walking down, that was badass. Okay. So walking in there and I was just best shape of my life and just knocked her out, man. First round was just hyped. So, tough one was amazing. Boxing was just starting and half these girls were just, like iron workers or steel workers, just tough chicks like that. They weren't trained athletes, but that started a whole wave of, there's some beautiful fighters now. I mean, girls boxing is still girls. It's not to the level of men, but there's some great girl fighters out there. So I'm just happy to say I was one of them at the time.
That Madison Square Garden fight was, I believe, on a Buster Douglas undercard. How was the pay for that?
I don't even remember. Dude, I was so punch drunk. Let me tell you something. I wasn't trained very well in that I didn't listen to anybody. Okay, maybe I had really good coaches and trainers, but I didn't really listen to anybody. And I did not wear headgear a lot of the times when I should. And I went out on my own and sparred some guys all the time, and I didn't wear my headgear. And to be honest with you, I've got a little bit of memory loss. Short-term and long-term from all those blows I've taken to my head from then and Gladiators. I don't even remember how much I got paid. I don't remember a lot of things like that. I know that my $10,000 payday was the most that I've gotten paid. I don't think it was probably more than 5,000 or 6,000. So I'm thinking 5,000. If it was a top rank, was that one a top rank show or that's in Vegas? I did something with top rank and got $5 grand. So I think that was kind of the going rate for what were these? The 10 round was a championship. So maybe these were 6-rounders. I think it was 6-rounder, something like that. But I wasn't doing it for the money. I was just doing it just because I could do it. I was starving. I didn't, the Gladiators was okay. And I did spend my money very well. And I don't know, man, I was just a fighter. I swear to God, there's something pure, at least about doing something that you love just because that's who you are. I just got off on the fighting and the aggression, and the more that I got hit, the more that I liked it. And that's probably kind of twisted, but the fact that I could take it and walk through it and improve and improve and improve, it just overwhelmed me so much that I found something that I was so good at that I loved more than anything in the world. After a few years of it and me getting just killed in the gyms with the guys that I sparred, they were bigger than me, stronger than me. I had no business being in the ring with them, but it did make me the best in the world at one time. But I pay the price for my memory and just my eyes. I got a little lazy. I've been hit a lot. but there's nobody in their heart that's happier than I am, and the journey that I've taken, I wouldn't change a thing.
So what was the boxing title that you held exactly in women's boxing?
I had the Tough One World Championship, and then I had the IFBA, International Female Boxers Association. I was the Platinum Division Heavyweight Champion. So that was in 1998. And I think since then they've changed the sanction for what weight class is what. My weight class, I think I was 175, and that was heavyweight during that time. But now I think 165 super middleweight. I think heavyweight's like 195 and over. I'm not even sure. I don't really follow women's boxing that much anymore, but they changed it a lot back then. So my fights I had like 4-round fights, and they were 2-minute rounds. But that IFBA was given to me by Jackie Callan, and that was her federation at the time. And I'm trying to how much I got paid for that one, like $8,000 or something. That was a pretty good payday. So I had 2 fights in that day, and the way that they were doing them, they had to do a tournament style because we weren't on the undercard of a guys match. So they had to make it like tournament style for women. So, and it's evolved a lot since then, but yeah, that's my professional title.
And you were also a finalist in a Fitness America pageant too, or a competition, weren't you?
Yeah, I think that I think I was doing the Gladiators at that time, and it was 1993, I believe. And I won the Miss Fitness California, and then I went all the way to I think I was placed fourth in the nation doing that. And I was just this big old chick because I remember standing there like. Because I was a gymnast, the reason why it was you remember it was gymnastics back in the day, like in the first fitness shows, it wasn't just bikini and all that, but it was the tumbling and stuff. So I was just like a big gymnast. So I tumbled my way, into 4th place in the national. But I remember standing there at the very end, and everybody was so much shorter than me, and I was just like, shit, because they were all like gymnasts, So I remember I was like, okay, maybe I don't fit in very good. I didn't feel like I was in a good place there. So that was just like a little whim. So, but I think I got sponsored by Metrex at the time. So I got a bunch of free protein. So I did that for the free protein at the time, when you're struggling, free protein is gold. So that was great. I really liked doing that.
And at one point you were also training with Hector Macho Camacho too for boxing, right?
Yeah, partied a lot with Hector, bro. If you know Hector, you partied with Hector, So sad to have lost him too. I think it was in Puerto Rico, and just he was the real deal. Yeah, we ended up being good friends, and he took me in Orlando. He took me around to his restaurants and the people that really helped him and sponsored him. I'm sorry, geez. He was very, very nice to me. A very good friend. He respected me. There wasn't any weird or funny business going on between us. It was just, he was my stablemate at the time. And we did a lot together there. He really, just like when I went to the Gladiators, I've been really blessed to be around people that have wanted nothing but good for me and goodwill for me. And he's another one that took me around and introduced me to his friends. Said, if you ever need anything, man, if you ever need anything, these people help you. I got you. I help you. And just stay by me, So, yeah, he's, people have different experiences with people, and, but that's the one that I knew. And, yeah, I miss him. I wish he was still around. So he was just him, good, bad, the ugly. But he was a really good friend to me. So.
Any partying stories with him you could share?
Just going to the club, right? We partied. Okay, I'll just put it like that. We partied, and it's hard to know what to say and what not to say. All I can say, the nightclubs that we went to, the people that was around us, they gave him just the utmost respect. We just danced and partied and just felt. When you're with someone, I'm pretty much an empath. I can feel when I'm with someone, like what they're feeling and emotions. That's why I'm really careful with who I'm around. I don't want to carry, if someone's really depressed and have emotional baggage, I have to be around positive people or else it's going to pull me down. So when I was struggling and, getting my ass beat all the time, it messes with your head. When you get your ass beat all the time and you're trying to be the best in the world, it really messes with your head. And I know that he had a lot of trauma mentally and took a lot of blows. And, we weren't the smartest or the sharpest tools in the shed, but we were two of the fucking toughest tools in the shed. And no matter where we go, no matter what you did, we may not have the most money or best credit, but nobody could kick our ass. And we walked around like that. And the places that we went, the clubs, the restaurants, the Latin places that he took me, that made me fall in love with salsa. Okay, like the Latin clubs and the drinks and the culture, he made me fall in love with that. But just going places with him, it was just the best, just the best. Like he just had me right here. Hey, treat her good. And, he would tell her, hey, give her what she wants. Treat her good. She trains and all that stuff. So I wasn't just like a chick or a mark or whatever. When we went places, he let them know this girl's gonna be a champion right here. She'll give her some respect. And at the time, maybe other people didn't, but he did. Everywhere we went.
Now, I imagine he would have had his share of girls trying to go after him, being such a famous boxer. Did you witness like anything with fans like trying to get with him and stuff?
It wasn't about that. I mean, everybody was scared of Hector, bro. Everybody was scared when he walked in. His energy. Did you know him personally? Did you know Hector? Had you ever had a chance to meet him?
No.
All right, let me give you a little take. Okay, you're scared of this motherfucker. Okay, when he walks in, he's crazy. Okay, his energy, I have never seen, and I'm sure we all get depressed or whatever. But when we're up and going out, his energy was infectious, and he's a world champion at the time. I believe he was in between titles or something like that at the time. But no, the girls. I mean, he was very unapproachable. When we went out, he would talk to the owners. We would go to the VIP sections, and when we sat there and had our drinks, he liked to be kind of alone and in his own mind and listen and vibe in the music. And I wanted that too, and he was a celebrity. I was doing the Gladiator, so I guess I was a celebrity too. We do autographs for the show from my perspective and all that. So when we went out together, that's probably why he liked to hang out with me, is because I wasn't trying to get with him. I wasn't trying to get an autograph. I was hanging out with my friend, and I miss very much. So when we go places, we just hung out, and they put us in VIP, and he and I would just sit there and have some drinks. And, he would, like I said, the owners of the club would talk to him, but they kept everybody else kind of away. But yeah, the girls, they'd be over there with the little drinks, just waiting until he goes to the bathroom or something. And, but he wouldn't pay attention to them. He just wasn't about getting the girls, and that's not what it was about. And I don't know why that was. He wasn't trying to get with anybody ever. And it's almost like he was protected by the clubs and the restaurants that we went to. And he liked his privacy. So he liked his privacy. And, yeah, so I never saw him get with anybody when he was with me. So I'm sure he did. I did it my own right too. But when we were hanging out, we were just hanging out. So it was a little bit about something different.
Now, would he have been paying for all this VIP service, or are the clubs like just so happy to have him there that you guys are covered when you go out?
They covered everything, and at the end, he would drop a couple bills, just for a tip or whatever. They were just happy to have him there, and just whatever we wanted. And at the end, he would just throw a couple $100 down as we flew in and out like that. So yeah, they were just happy to have him there. They could say Camacho hangs out here and Camacho's over there in VIP. That's how they talked. He was amazing.
Any boxing advice that you'd give for any of the boxers watching this?
Advice? Just man, if it's what you love, just don't let anything stop you. Wear your headgear while you're sparring. Okay, best 2 cents ever. Wear your headgear all the fucking time. Wear your headgear when you're training. Wear your headgear when you're sparring. Don't take any hits to the dome, man, until you walk in there, until you're paid to take hits to the dome. Wear your headgear all the time. If not, could pay for it later. You could get, torn retinas. I just have horror stories from people that have not wore their headgear, and it'll make your boxing career shorter. So wear the headgear all the time, have a long, healthy, lustrous career, and kick as much ass as you can.
Now, you're obviously running some type of fight school. Could you tell us a little bit about your operation that you have there in Florida?
Yeah, and I love kids. So my whole thing is being a coach. Being a coach fulfills everything in me that being a boxer did. I like helping these kids and keeping it safe for everybody. So I have Knockout Artist Fight Club here in Edgewater, and I have open striking. So now you're either doing Muay Thai or kickboxing, and there's boxing, and there's some people that don't even know what they're doing yet. So I just have open striking class. But because it's me here, I do draw people that want to box a little bit more. But we have people coming in from out of town that want to spar, and I was a women's Sanshao champion too. So I've got some kicking background and some Muay Thai training. So I have people come in and, they'll work mitts with me and I'll hold pads and do kicks. Some people that's doing Muay Thai, but boxing is my thing here. I like working with people that are just starting. I don't like to let kids train because I'm not into, I do the jujitsu. So I have a great jujitsu coach. So the little kids that come in, we'll put them in jujitsu, right? So I would say 14, 15 is the youngest that I would encourage kids to box. I know kids start a lot younger than that, but they get burnt out really, really quick because they take too many hits to the head. So teenagers for me, I like training them, and we spar here all the time. So I've got all my headgear and everything. So, I mean, you can hit that bag all day, but that bag's not going to hit you back. And if you're not training and sparring with somebody, then you're really not boxing. So when they come and train and they want to hit the bags, I, say, hey, if you want to be a boxer, like if they come in and say, I want to box. So then they come in, I give them, workouts to do on the bag and, some defense and stuff like that. And then they don't want to spar. And I'm like, look, it's not going to happen unless you get in front of somebody, because if you're not training in here like that, when you really do get in front of someone, you're going to get knocked the fuck out. So and then you can't say that you train with me because, you're not listening. So my joy is making it a healthy experience. So we've got all the pads, and it's so much fun. We have such a good vibe here. We're actually moving down the street I'm from 1,500 square feet here into a 3,000 square foot arena. So we've just been in business just a year. And so now we're blowing up and growing so fast. And young adults and the teenagers that come in to box, we have such a good time. And so I shake that fear out of their head. And when they leave here, after they sparred a couple of rounds, they're a little shaky. I love these first moments of turning someone into a fighter. I want to be the first one that's put the gloves on them. I want to be the first one that's wrapped their hands. And I want to be the coach that's making them spar with headgear on. So that's going to be me. So that's what I'm doing. And then, usually they don't go pro after this and, do something else in their life. But I think every student that's came into box, I've really helped them with something in their life and help them overcome something by getting in there and, going a couple rounds with somebody, making warriors, baby, making warriors. You got to be a warrior in every aspect of your life nowadays. Life is hard. So come in here and we'll make you stronger, make life a little bit easier.
Are you in that, I think it's ESPN documentary on American Gladiators that Darren was in? Yes.
Did he do Hours or Netflix? Okay, so he did do Hours. Yeah, that should be coming out. That should be coming out anytime. That really surprised us that we did that all of a sudden. That was a heck of an experience because we've got another group of gladiators that did a Netflix show. So we had Netflix and ESPN trying to get everybody to do their show or whatever. So some of them went the Netflix route, and then we went the ESPN route. The difference for me is that I am dear, dear friends with the creator of the show, Dan Carr. And also Johnny Ferraro. Dan Carr created the show, the pilot of the show. Johnny Ferraro developed the show. So the ESPN documentary was basically about the trials and tribulations between Johnny and Dan, who really, made the show. Did Johnny screw Dan over? Dan's living under a bridge while Johnny's, living in a mansion. It's all so there's all this drama. So the ESPN was getting down to the brass tacks on how was the show developed, who really developed the show, and Dan and I've been friends Dan was one of my boxing coaches. So Dan Carr, he ran, where's he from? Pittsburgh, from Pennsylvania. He had a boxing school in Pennsylvania back in the day. So as I started boxing, Dan and I became very close. So he was right there to help me train and give me routines to do and exercises. He's, I love Dan. He's family to me. But everybody had their own aspects, and they did ask me more about them, and they talked about my boxing. And I said, if it wasn't for the Gladiator show, I wouldn't have found my passion, which is boxing. I wouldn't have found the best thing in the world that I'm at. It's boxing. So we talked about that. And Ben Berman was the producer. And I think he's fallen ill. It was supposed to already been out, but something happened to Ben. I hope he's okay. So we're all waiting for the editing to be finished because it should have already been out by now. So, but yeah, I remember Darren was talking about that. And one thing, I guess we're all different. Darren is an actor. So Darren acts, right? Darren likes to do, I've not really seen anything that he's been in, but he's an actor. So that's his vibe. And I think Mike, I know he's got some martial arts background experience, but in essence, those guys are actors, and they're great at what they do. But I'm a fighter. So maybe that's not the smartest thing to do, but my mentality is very different than both of theirs. And I fight for my friends. I stand up for what I think is right. I stand up for my friends sometimes when they're not right. But the grit that's in me, I think that's my integrity. And I can't talk shit. If it's not the truth, it'd be really, really hard for me to say because I have to hold myself accountable. So, the difference that I had with Darren, something that didn't mean very much to him if he bent the truth a little bit or, wanted the fans to believe that he was there, wasn't a big deal. But for me, it was, because I've had my skull beat in for years and years and years. And to be on that team in Kissimmee, we all did. We've all got hurt. We all got our ass beat to say we were on the live team that was there 6 nights a week for 3 years over and over. And he just wasn't there. You being there for 2 weeks in the show, and then to tell the fans, yeah, I was a part of the team on the live show. Well, you didn't pay your dues, and that's all we were saying, right? So I'm very hard-headed that way, and that might be a flaw. I'm not trying to talk shit about Darren. I'm not trying to talk shit about Mike. But when you ask my opinion on something, that's how I feel. That's just how I am, and God, don't let people ask shit about me. She partied her ass off this, and I did. That's just opinions that we have each other, but that doesn't mean that we're not all part of the same family. That doesn't mean that we are a part of the same thing. We're just different characters in the same movie. So Darren's got his accomplishments. Mike has his. I've got mine. We all have prioritized different things in our lives, and it is what it is. Now that I've said all that, we are all gladiators. So we are all a part of the same team. I don't know why I'm just. See, you just pulled your. I wasn't trying to talk shit about anybody, so I hope that came across the right way. I do consider them families and brothers, that we all talk shit about because you know why? Because we can. We can say this because we can. But at the end of the day, we're all gladiators and we're all part of the same family. So.
Well, it's not as bad as the wrestlers when they talk shit about each other. You're still keeping it above the belt, pretty much.
Oh, really? Are they? I think wrestlers are more independent contractors and independent workers and actors. That is, you know what? You just brought up a very good point. We are more family. There are less of us. There's a handful of gladiators and we all have our characters and all that kind of stuff. But the wrestlers, I think there's so many, and I don't think that they're as close as we are to each other. And I was with WW, it was F at the time. I was with WWF for 9 months in 2008. Was it 2008? No, 1998. Sorry, it was 1998. So there's my brain going bad again. In 1998. So I was on the developmental team with them and I was shoulder to shoulder right there with Stone Cold and The Rock and Big Show. And me and China got in a fight downstairs. And I mean, it was great, but they did talk shit about each other. There was some backstabbing shit going on there. So yeah, you're right. Our little things that we have with each other ain't shit compared to that. And I felt a big difference walking from Gladiators into that. I'm like, man, y'all backstab the shit out of each other. They did. So you walk And I'll tell you something that I did experience that's interesting. I met Dwayne Johnson there. I met The Rock. Oh my God, he's so gorgeous. Dude, I've never been starstruck. Look at me blushing. I've never been starstruck in my life, Hannibal. But when I turned around, I was downstairs. When I turned around like this, my nose went right between his pecs, okay? He didn't have his shirt on because he was about to go on stage, or he just came off. I turned around and my nose right there, and I just looked up and I was like, "What's up, Dwayne?" He goes, "Hey, Shannon." He goes, "I heard you were coming. We're really, really glad to have you. You're a fighter, huh?" And I was like, "Uh-huh." I was like, "Yes." Dude, I couldn't even breathe. I was like, "This motherfucker is gorgeous." Oh my God. Something about Dwayne Johnson, dude, that was different with him and everybody else. Everybody was screwing around and doing drugs and just being crazy with pain pills and the weed. And it was just like, it was a crazy party fest, you know, it's a party all the time. Dwayne Johnson was so professional and had his little suitcase and went right up to his hotel room and came right back down for the show. He was such a good boy, okay? I didn't ever see Dwayne Johnson cheating on his wife, cheating on his girlfriend, partying with anybody. He was so professional, and look where he's at today. So at that time, he was on the same level, Stone Cold, Big Show, Undertaker, you know, China was there, and all that. And his professionalism is what took him to the top. That separated him from everybody else. No, I mean, I'm just saying, I remember seeing that. So his integrity and morality is so high, and I witnessed it I was there for 6 or 7 months right before Owen Hart died. So when Owen Hart passed away, I was right there by the ring in between shows when he fell. And Lord rest his soul. So I was there, and then there were some lawsuits or something going on with WWE. Things went crazy, and I got let go and was supposed to come back and didn't go back after that. So it was too much for me. I was done, dude. So. But yeah, wrestling, but they have cleaned it up. So since then and all that stuff, I heard it's a whole new ball game. Just like with us and the Gladiators, right? The steroid fest back in the day, and with the wrestlers all partying and doing dangerous stuff. It has all changed. So I was a part of the crazy. I was a part of the crazy, unbridled part before there was any regulations. I was there, bro. I was there and doing everything with everybody. Okay, I was like all the time. This is what we're supposed to do. But thank God I'm tough enough and made it through. But it's different now, so everything's evolved in a beautiful way.
And it's a lot more boring now and a lot less popular. But you got to tell us this China altercation story, because the fans, I'm sure, want to hear about this.
Dude, and you know, and she's passed away too, you know, and I wish she was still alive to talk with her and share with her about it. But she was so stressed out. The amount of stress that wrestling puts on you, you know, it's a lot. You know, all you do is want to get out there and do your wrestling shows and you know, get your matches and get paid. And China was China, right? I mean, she was just like the top of the world at this time. And so downstairs at one of the shows, the way that it worked with the wrestling is that they send you an itinerary and they tell you where you're going to fly. This is where you're going to fly. Here's your show. Here's your month thing. We're going to Boston, to New York, you know, to Pittsburgh. This is like, we would go to 4 or 5 cities in a week. It was crazy. So anyway, I was traveling with the show to get to see everybody and understand what was going on. But the first time that I got there, the women's dressing room was downstairs in one of the arenas that we went to. And we had our table there. And so there was the mirrors, you know, we had a little dressing thing, whatever. And so there was the girls, the valet girls was down there, and everybody was just chilling out. Everybody had like beer in their coolers and wine coolers. I was just fucking getting wasted before the show. I'm just like, holy shit. Okay, anyway, like I said, it's all changed now. So anyway, so I sit down right next to Joni. It was China. And I sat there and I was like, hey, I said, how are you? I said, hey, I'm Shannon. Nice to meet you. I put my hand out to shake her hand, and she just looked at me like this. It was this size, so she looked at me like this. She goes, who are you? And I was all happy at first. I said, my name is Shannon Hall. I was a Tough Woman World Championship, so I'm going to start wrestling now. And she goes, are they just letting anybody in here? She goes, God. She did not even shake my hand. And she goes, are they just letting anybody in here? God. And I pushed back my table. I said, look, motherfucker, I'm not doing this wrestling shit. I said, I'll whoop your fucking ass. I said, and then the girls grabbed me, and then she stood up, and I said, come on, motherfucker. And so the girls, he said, stop. So they pulled us apart. I was like, that's fucking bullshit, man. She's so rude. And so the girl, I can't remember which was the valet girls, really, really sweet people. They go, just back up. They said, dude, nobody likes her. She is not a happy person. She has a lot of problems. Nobody's into it. They said, just don't let it get to you. Don't let it get to you. And I was just like, God, I don't know why, but something like just tipped me off. But then they said that she's going through a whole bunch of stuff, but she was just really, really rude. She goes, just like anybody, but she didn't even shake my hand. She was just so rude, dude. I was like, fuck you, motherfucker. Really? You don't know who I am. She knew who I was then. And then I was supposed to wrestle her. So I went back to Stamford, Connecticut, and I was being trained by Kurt Angle to wrestle her. She was going to be my first match. I was training with Nicole Bass at the time. Nicole was her. She's huge. And we were just like doing the body slams. I picked Nicole's big ass up, and then she would pick on it, whatever. And I guess China was watching the practice or whatever, and they had me set up with her. And I'm like, well, let's go. I was supposed to have my first match. And they're like, no, dude, she didn't want to wrestle you. She said that you're too rough, and you're not ready yet. I'm just like, oh, God. So I was like, you just cost me so much money. When I'm trained, I'm a great athlete. I'm really good. I've never hurt anybody. I'm just like, fuck. So I shared a little bit of the frustration that I'm sure everybody shares like every day. So that was my experience with her. So I was like, oh, she wouldn't even wrestle me. Wouldn't even pro wrestle me, which she would probably won the match anyway. And I would have lost, but she wouldn't even get in there against me because of the altercation that we had downstairs. So I wasn't out to hurt her. I was just there, with the wrestling, I was just there to make the money. With boxing, I'll box anybody. I'll go up in the front yard and box, right? But I was just there to make my money. So she kind of screwed me over professionally, but maybe it happened for a reason. Maybe I would have got hurt or something like that. But she and I did not get along. So, but she had problems, and they told me right away, she's got a lot of problems, man. Just walk away. Don't even think nothing about it. And later that night, somebody put dog shit in her locker. Where you're going to find a dog, where you're going to find a shit in another town, in an arena, I don't know. But somebody put dog shit in her locker, and she thought it was me, and it wasn't me. I don't have any dogs. I don't know what it was. And she thought it was me, so there goes the saga again. I'm just like, I'm just fucking here to learn to wrestle. So she and I did not get along. So the person I did get along with, Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock took me under his wing like Camacho did. Shamrock and I were like this. He's like, don't let these people bother you. Don't get close to anybody. You're here today. You're gone tomorrow. Just make your money. Just have a good time. Just stay by me. And there was a black belt guy that he trained with or something. And we just held downstairs, just holding mitts for each other and doing some striking and stuff. So Shamrock was my buddy. And he just said, don't even mind these people. And we partied and hung out. Shamrock is another Camacho and just loved by everyone, but loved and feared by everyone all the same day. So he's a good friend too.
Yeah, you definitely you experienced the behind the scenes stuff in wrestling for sure. How did they recruit you into WWE?
Okay, this is cool too. Okay, JR, right before I was walking out to my IBA women's heavyweight title fight in Bay St. Louis, Missouri, right before I walked out. And let me tell you, during this time, I had been boxing for 3 years. I had a little swelling on my brain, and I ended up getting licensed anyway, but I had swelling. I took some time off, and I came back in. Honestly, after 3 years of it, I was done. I listened to myself doing some radio broadcasts, and I was stuttering a little bit. So they would say, ask me a question. I was like, and I was stuttering, dude. And I was like, holy shit. And I listened that back, and I was just like, this is not good. And this was a couple weeks. I was doing, promoting the fight, and I was in Vegas. And so I was talking, and I was stuttering. I was getting hit so much. And like I said, I wasn't wearing my headgear like I should. Just like a fucking dumbass. Why was anybody making me wear my headgear? I don't even remember, because I've been hit too much. Anyway, I was about to walk out, and I was just kind of saying a prayer to God. I'm just like, I'm done doing it, because I knew if I won the belt, and I knew I could whip any girl's ass. I knew I could. I tried to get Layla Ali to fight me. Layla wouldn't take a fight when I came back. Ask her. I was getting ready to go out there, and I was just like, okay, if I win this belt, here goes another 3 or 4 years, and the money started declining. Okay, so maybe that did have something to do with it too. My pay started declining after that 3 years. I think my last fight was like $4,000. I'm just like, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me. I'm having a good time with people, but I'm just like, professionally, this is not really working out. So I can't remember what the purse was. See, I can't remember what I made for that fight. But the phone rang right before I walked out. I was like, Shannon Hall. I said, yes, sir. Somebody was in the room with me. They said, hey, you might want to take this phone call. And he said, Shannon Hall. It was JR. He said, hey, this is JR from WWE or WWF. I was like, no, it's not. He goes, yes, it really is. I'm like, bullshit. How do I know it's JR? He goes, do you know anybody else that sounds like this? I'm like, okay, actually, no, I don't. I say, hey, what's up? And he goes, I think we have an offer that you might want to consider. We would like to bring you on to the WWF, pay you a $250,000 developmental contract, teach you to wrestle. We know your dad was a wrestler, and we think you'd be great at it. So I just want you to, and I said, look, you're doing this. Somebody else paid you to do this because you want me to throw this fight and lose the fight and fuck me over because this point I didn't trust anybody. And he goes, no, let me shoot you over an email with the contract. I want you to look at it real quick. I'm like, I'm about to walk out to a fight. I didn't even look at the email. And he goes, we'd really like to have you. This is a legitimate offer. You can call the office in Stanford on Monday or whatever. And he says, it's a legitimate offer. And I walked right out there and I was just like, God, that's a sign that I needed right there. So I threw my last fight, throwing the last fight. I went out there and I was just like, take it, Susie. Just take it, dude. Knock me out. Just take it. I'm done. I'm ready to cash in this $5,000 a year for $250,000 a year and move on and save my head, save my health and my life and my head. So I just said, take it, Susie. So that was my last boxing match, and I went right to the WWF.
Wow. So you just took the dive there.
Well, I was hoping she would knock me out, but she couldn't knock me out. It's to be honest with you, it's not in me to go down, and I didn't know that either until that. Because if you watch that fight, I throw some punches and put my hands down, and she could knock me out, and it was already almost the 10th round. I was like, God dang. So in the 9th round, I was like, Jesus Christ. So I just told the ref like this. I just told the ref, stop. I said, I can't breathe. My nose is broken. And my nose wasn't broken. I said, my nose is broken. I can't breathe. I gave it up right there. So that's how it was in 9th round. So I threw that fight. And I think a lot of fighters do that. That's not any big news. You got to go out. How do you get out, when no one can knock you out? You got to throw a fight, whether it's for your health or you're just done getting your brain beat in. Because, man, that shit gets old.
Not Bob Sapp, though. He's never done that.
What's that?
Bob Sapp's never done that, though.
Who's Bob Sapp?
Oh, you don't know him?
No, who's Bob Sapp?
He's a popular MMA fighter, but like in recent years, he's just like thrown the fight really, really quick to just collect his paycheck, like many times.
Okay, well, if you do it several times, that's kind of taking advantage of I think you get one get out of jail free card, especially if it's for your health and your head. But if you do that over and over, then you're cheating the fans. So I would never cheat the fans. I at least gave them a good show. I was going to try to give them a knockout or whatever, but yeah, I wouldn't do that over and over. Just one time for me. So, and sorry, Susie Taylor, I'm not trying to disrespect her. We've gotten a fight over that too. Somebody asked me and she's like, what do you mean? I just broke your nose. I said, we'll call the hospital. Let's go back in the records and see if there was a broken nose. She and I got in a fight. I said, Susie, I'm just telling my story. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do nothing wrong. So she and I weren't talking though either. I was like, fuck yourself. Jesus Christ, can I tell my story? God, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. Man, fighters get really pissed off very easy. I know because I am one. But man, it's like an big ego thing. So anyway.
If there was a fight of yours online that you would suggest fans look up that you're particularly proud of, which one would it be? The Madison Square Garden one?
No, I've never even seen my Madison Square Garden fight. If anybody can find that fight under the Buster Douglas card, I've never even seen it. So I don't even know where that would be. And I have written Madison Square Garden a few times and asked them if they've got footage but they didn't ever answer me. So I wish I could see that fight, but that probably wouldn't have been the best because it was over. I knocked her out in 1:35. I was so hyped up. It wasn't a good fight. I knocked her out super fast. I was just so amped up. That wasn't a great fight. I think my best fight was me getting my ass beat by, there's a girl named Mona the turnip Nelson, who is now in prison for setting a kid on fire. She rolled up some kid in a carpet and lit the fucking carpet on fire. She tried to kill a kid. So Mona the Turnip Nelson, who is a psychopath, she was the second fight that I fought. I was in jail the night before, so I spent the night in jail, and then I had to get up and fight for the IFBA women's heavyweight title the next day. I was so tired. I'm just like, but I wasn't ready to hand it over. I wasn't ready to hand it over yet. I was like, fuck, no. So I fought one girl and beat this one. And then Mona, she hit me harder than anybody that has ever hit me in my life. My God. I ran right into every one of them. I cannot believe I got through that fight. So it was the IFBA women's heavyweight title. It was Mona the Turnip Nelson, and I was out on my feet. So I got my brains beat out, but I pulled it out. I beat her on punch volume and went to the body. She took my head off, but I went to the body and outscored her. That's all it was. And that's probably the best fight. It's the best fight for me because she pushed me the hardest, and I was pretty much out on my feet for that one. No one else has ever put me that before.
What were you in jail for the night before?
A barroom fight. Okay, so was it actual? Okay, so I got a fight with the bouncer. Okay, so
what are you out drinking for the night before a fight?
I wasn't drinking. This is me natural. I was hungry, and he wouldn't let me get my food. So this was in I think Bay City, Michigan, and Art Dorr is my manager, and he owned the restaurant, and so I just got in running in the snow. It was snowing, and I was running and training, and I needed to eat before 8 o'clock. That was my curfew, so I was trying to get to the bar because I had free food there, and I was supposed to have my dinner, and there was a bunch of people outside, and I didn't wait in line. I was like, hey, I'm one of Art Dorr's fighters. I'm just getting to the kitchen before the kitchen closes, and the bouncer was a big old dude standing in the doorway, and I'm like, hey, it's me, Shannon. Like, I've seen this guy for 2 weeks. He knew who the fuck I was. I mean, how could you not know who I was, right? I said, hey, it's me, Shannon. There's a line for people getting to this club, right? And so I'm running up to the side. I said, let me in. I'm hungry. He goes, get to the end of the line. I said, dude, I'm trying to get to the kitchen. I had a friend with me. Let me in the bar. He said, get to me. I said, the kitchen's going to be closed in an hour, 30 minutes. I said, it was like I had 10 minutes to eat, right? And I said, I've got to get in and get my food. Get to the end of the line or whatever. And so and I was just like, oh, really? And I turned around and walked away. And then I turned and tried to run past him, whatever. And he like clotheslined me with his arm. And when he clotheslined, he hit me with his arm. And I just started swinging. He fucking clotheslined me in here. I just fucking started, mind you, I'm getting ready for a world title fight. But I am a fighter, whether I put on the pair of gloves or not. This is how I was raised. So you fucking do that shit to me and try to clothesline me? That was intentional. So I started swinging at him or whatever. So we're getting into it, and he's the bouncer. so we're going like this, and my friends pull me back. He's like, "Fucking stop, dude, stop!" And he pulled me back, and I felt somebody grab my, and I knew it wasn't Abel, my friend. I felt somebody else grabbing, and I turned around and swung, and it was the fucking cops, man. So they grabbed my shirt from the back, and they grabbed me this way, and I fucking turned around, started swinging, and it was the po-po, dude. And so I was like, oh, and I said, oh my God. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I didn't know it was you. They fucking pepper sprayed me and fucking sweat me and put my face in the ice on the street and smashed my face in the fucking ice, drove me away in the police car. So I was arrested right before my fight because he would not let me have my dinner. So that's all. And the Conan O'Brien said, this is the first show we've ever had where the contestant couldn't make it because she was in prison. So that's what that was about.
Sounds like you need to write a book.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. Someone's going to have to write it about me because I'm going to ride this shit out hard until the day I die, dude. I'm going to go hard as I can, as long as I can. So I ain't going to write a book because that means there'd be an ending. So I'm not even writing it yet. Someone else got to write it after I'm just burnt up and ashed out.
Mop Shop wants to know what your boxing record is.
My boxing record, geez. Tough woman stuff, I think it was 19-1. So including my tough woman fights with Susie, I think that was my 20th fight, 19-1. So I threw the one.
Now, you've heard about this. We brought it up earlier. Vince McMahon apparently bought the rights to the American Gladiators and is going to run it himself. What do you know about all of that? Is it going to be wrestlers doing it, or what's going on with that?
So what I've been told, and this was by the creator of the show, they signed the contract with Vince McMahon, and MGM. They signed, I think, 16 episodes for the first year. So they've got a contract signed, and I'm trying to think who's. So it's MGM. Vince McMahon has bought it out. So basically, Vince has bought the rights to use our American Gladiator logo, and the new American Gladiators are going to be WWE superstars. So they are in the process right now of recruiting the ones that they want to be the new American Gladiators. And I think it's a bomb-ass great idea. I mean, these athletes already have a following. They have a fan base. Now, they have a character, as WWE, but just like some of the wrestlers, they do movies and morph into something else. And so it's going to be a huge growth thing for them. So, maybe Charlotte's going to get on there and be like, new Hawk or, something, a new name. So I cannot wait to see how they do this. I don't know. I think they're sticking with the red, white, and blue, the superhero type uniform. I don't think it's going to be like the new Gladiators that came back. From what I know, they're going to try to follow the original show, and I think it's a great idea. So they're going to do that, and then they're going to have also they're going to be traveling. They're going to have a live show, and I've also heard them already getting a spot in Vegas ready, where there's going to be American Gladiators in Vegas, and I've been talked to about being a part of that. So it's just, something that's that great to have morphed this long and to still continue is pretty amazing, dude. And the fact that I'm still breathing, that I'm still here to possibly be a part of it. So we'll see, man. My story might not, if I get to do this shit over again, oh my God. If I get to do this over again with a whole new group of gladiators, do I have two of that in me? Woo, mercy. Yes, I do. Hell yeah. I'm down, man. I'm down to do it. And I know they're dumping a shitload of money into it. And if Vince McMahon is behind this, and I have a good rapport with the WWF or WWE now. So I get to know Shane McMahon, works with him there and stuff. So, who knows, I don't know, like the host and hostess for the show. I would love to be a hostess for the show. No one can talk shit better than me, but whether they want, somebody that doesn't want to talk shit, I don't know what they're going to do. So, but yeah, WWE Superstars is going to be new American Gladiators. So we'll see how that pans out. Any
idea when that's going to start?
I heard by the end of this year. I heard it's being developed right now. So, I'm talking with the creators. They're having meetings about it. It's been at a little bit of a standstill this past month. I'm sure just production things or whatever, but they're talking about by the end of this year. That's fast. They're the games they're using basic, the Joust and Breakthrough and Conquer. Me and Dan Carr are trying to put some new games together for the future for them to, do new games, because this has given all of us a new life, all the Gladiators. And I wish the best for Darren and Mike, and I wish that some of us old ones could be sprinkled in there somehow with the new ones. I wish everybody the best. And let me just tell you, I just talk shit, okay? I can't help it. It's like no filter situation, but that doesn't mean I have any ill intent toward anybody. Like I said, it's like fight stuff. So I hope that some of us, whether, Darren or Mike or Lori or my friends, they're in LA, I would love for some of us to be sprinkled in there. Because, somebody's got to show these wrestlers how to do it, there's a certain way you got to be a gladiator. So, unless they're going to, they know what they're doing, but, it'd be nice to have us there, I think. What do you think? Don't you think they should have some oldies but goodies in there somehow?
Well, yeah, you'd think they're going to have to be trained somehow so they don't get embarrassed.
Well, okay, as far as being a gladiator, the only thing I see different between a gladiator and a wrestler. Pro wrestling is very much acting. They are actors. They're amazing. Because when I was there in Stanford, they had the TV cameras on us, and they showed us, when you're in the middle of the ring, because I'm used to just really wrestling, right? But they said, this is different when you do everything. You have to look up. It's a presentation. It's a show. That ring is actually, it's a stage. So half of the learning professional wrestling was the stagemanship aspect of it. So when we're in the middle of the ring, look up and do this and project out to the audience and show them your pain and stuff like that. But with the Gladiator show, it is a real sports event. So it's not about your connection. When you finish, you can like, yay. But when you're competing, it's for real. They're not going to take that part. You're really competing against these contenders. So what's going to be different for them is that they're not going to know what the end of the game is until the game's over. This is a real competition. When someone's standing in front of you, these athletes are no joke. They're here to take your head off. And if you're not ready and you think they're going to like you because you're Charlotte Flair or because, you're any of these other guys or Batista, or I don't know if he's still wrestling, but it's not, they're there to take your head off. So they are going to, what I think is cool is they're going to experience humility, major humility in the face of some incredible athletes where the point and the end of the story is not determined yet. So there has to be, you can't be all Ronda Rousey'd out, whatever, because the bigger you are, the harder that you're going to fall. So for your own ego's sake, you got to be humble, for a long career, and for people that they have to like you as much when you lose as when you win. And you have to also like yourself as much when you lose, just as much as when you win. So it's like with that aspect of it, they got to bring it on down just a little bit, So I think it's going to be incredible growth for all those athletes. I cannot wait. I would love to be a part of training them, helping them with that or whatever. But, they're superstars and super athletes, they're going to make it their own. So I do want them to have that gift, to make it their own. But I just think just like when you learn to wrestle or when you learn to box, you learn from world champions. You learn from people that have already had the journey. They want to, share things and teach you. And so I hope that they're teachable. I hope that they're teachable enough to grow into something else. Because being an American Gladiator, there's just nothing like it in the world.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they would put the stars in there like Ronda Rousey and Charlotte because of the risk of injury, and like wrestling's their bread and butter. I would imagine it'd be like the ones that aren't as popular, that have good athletic backgrounds, that maybe could get popular from being good gladiators, but who knows?
See,
I know they don't make Kevin Owens a gladiator because he got his ass kicked every time.
See, but you know what? That could be his gladiator identity. You're the shittiest one. You get your ass beat. So if one of the contenders draw you, they're like, yeah, I got him. I'm going to fucking win. So as long as your character is strong as a gladiator, it's good. As long as people like you and you have fans, even if you lost all the time, you got to be good at something. So maybe if you're not strong or coordinated, you could climb a wall or, you could shoot a gun. There's got to be something that you're the best at, but we've all had our ass kicked and our ass beat. But like I said, for, the Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, their whole wrestling identity is based on them being that person and that just royal bitch, but the gladiators, people don't like that. They want you to be like, blah, 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 tough, but still, at their service. And I don't know if could Charlotte and Ronda Rousey be at other people's service? I don't know. I don't know if I would even like them that much. I think they're just sick killer of what they're doing right now, the way they're doing it. I'd hate to change. I don't know if I would change that. I think you just like Coke, man. You don't mess with real Coke. It's just so good. You don't want to mess up the formula. So.
Are you talking about cocaine or Coke the drink?
I am talking about the drink, okay? Where did that come from with you, Hannibal, okay?
Because you were talking about the wrestlers partying earlier, and in those days, like, that wouldn't have been so uncommon.
I never did that. Okay, that was not a drug. That was not a drug of choice for the pro wrestlers. That was not. I don't remember seeing that at all. It was other stuff. A lot of believe it or not, which isn't really even that bad. A lot of alcohol. A lot of pain pills because everybody was hurting so much. I'm saying pain pills because they're prescribed. So prescription pain pills, drink with a couple of beer, and just weed. Just the weed. Oh my God, the weed was in the house all the time. People were walking around with it in their briefcases, to the wrestling thing with their uniforms in it, because pro wrestling is brutal. I was going to pro wrestle because I wanted my head to get better, and I was tired of getting the shit kicked out of me in boxing. But I'll tell you what, I was hurt more in pro wrestling training than boxing. The hits you take in your head, and I could not. I think it's a blessing in disguise that I got cut because my head was hurting all the time. You have to take aspirin because you can't stop. You train, you travel, and you keep going, and you can't stop. So the pressure to be consistent over and over, whether you feel good or not, you are on that stage. Okay. Can you imagine just not feeling good? You're going to go in there and get some 15, 16 man battle royal. You better pop whatever you can pop just to make yourself get through the day. And it was a lifestyle like that. So, I mean, that was, you know, the party I'm talking about, you know, so the Camacho, it's a different story. Okay. So there was different athletes had different things, but the wrestling wasn't that bad, but I'm just talking, it was very loose and not regulated. So yeah.
Well, you have the talking ability that you would have made a great wrestler. I think if it had happened now, you would have had more of a chance. But back then, they didn't really have a good development system. You were probably one of the very first development wrestlers signed, I imagine.
Yeah.
So it was just a bad timing for you.
It was. And to be honest with you, my heart was still with the boxing, and I ended up coaching, you know, being a USA boxing coach right after that. The wrestling, the energy exchange of being a pro wrestler is you're beating yourself up all the time. The energy is this way. You know, even when you're hitting somebody, you don't hit hard. When you slam, you know, it's you know, your face and your acting. It's really a beautiful sport. But you're beating yourself up all the time. You know, in boxing, you're inflicting the pain on the other person. So the energy is different. My heart was into the boxing. That was my forte. I don't think I was as good a wrestler as I was a boxer. I could just play the role, but I couldn't act. I didn't like to get beat. I didn't like to get beat up. So the acting part, I mean, I'm kind of like a Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair too. I don't like to lose. I don't like to lose at all. Because I mean, for real, like it's hard to make me feel like I could lose anything. So, you know, that's tough. In Gladiators, when I really did get beat, I really did get beat. And I had to say, hey man, good job to that person. So I'm a very good sportsman. My sportsmanship is ideal. Because if you beat me fair and square, the respect for you is instant. I instantly respect you. So that's just how I'm built. So, but we'll see. I mean, I felt like I was a fan for the WWE, and I got to be back there with all the superstars and just got to enjoy them like that. I mean, it's like, where's my popcorn, man? I'm just here for the show. You know, I got the best seat in the house. I'm downstairs with everybody. So, I mean, but what a great experience. But to put that together and where I'm coming from, as a fighter, doing the pro wrestling thing and the Gladiators, it all fits together really nice. So if I could be a part of that, you know, I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? If it's not going to happen, contracts have been signed. The train's moving forward. If it's meant to be, it'll be. So if I could do that, I would love just to like be an announcer so I can, you know, accidentally get in a fight with somebody in the stage. So like, I'm going to call you out, you know, just because I call people out. So it'd be cool to do that and actually get out there and maybe play another game or like play a game against a new Gladiator or with a, you know, a Charlotte Flair or whatever. I just keep bringing up her name. I keep seeing her face in my head. But, you know, just to feel it one more time, you know, that's why wrestlers wrestle until they're 100 years old. You look at The Undertaker. It's so hard to let go of something that you love much. And if someone still wants to see you and they're still paying you for it, then you keep fighting. You keep making your body look the best you can, your face look the best you can. You keep fighting for it. So I'm here, and I haven't quit fighting. I train all the time, and you know, I teach jiu-jitsu to the kids. You know, I assist my coach Uzi, and I'm just constantly in the physical capacity. I mean, the way they look right now, this is just me eating all the time. So I'm not doing any steroids or nothing like that. I'm just a big ass bitch, and I train all the time. So it's like you can't take anything away from me from that. And if I'm blessed to still do it, I am the real deal. I'm the real American Gladiator. I'm one of the originals. I was here from the very beginning, and I would love to be there till the very end. So that'd be awesome. I do have a lot to share and talk about, you know, but we'll see what old Vincey says. We'll see what old Vincey says.
Where can the fans follow you on social media if they want to keep up with you or learn more information about your school?
Well, my school, I think to be honest with you, I'm pretty low key right now. I'm not really all social media out. My Facebook is Dallas Shannon Hall. I think it's Dallas, not Shannon. Yeah, I think it's Dallas Shannon Hall on my Facebook. Like I said, I'm pretty low key right now. I'm really into training these kids. My Instagram, I think it's knockout_artist_MMA. I think it's my school website. You can see all the kids there, and I'm really proud of that. I've got some UFC fighters. Alan Nugget Patrick comes in and works with our kids, and Diego Silva, another Brazilian guy, is going to be one of our coaches. So and Uziel Santana. He was on the Brazilian Olympic wrestling team. He's my main coach, and so I'm just loving life with these kids right now. My Instagram is knockout_1000, but it's kind of boring. I mean, I don't have like a big ass or anything, so I'm not like a big ass girl. I feel like big guns, and they're just not really popular. So if I had like a big tutti frutti booty that I can stick on there 100 times, go around, I mean, that'd be great. But I just like social media nowadays. I just like, I don't know. I feel like I don't fit in there anywhere anymore. So I have a daughter. My daughter is 16 years old, and she's like a little Latina me, and she's in the training and all that stuff. So she works out, and she's a future superstar. So my little Mia Trujillo, I don't even know what her Instagram is. I promote to follow her, but I think she's probably on my knockout_1000 Instagram page. Thank you for asking. I'm just, do you have a social media? Are you like all Instagrammed out, and are you like really active on your?
We're most popular on YouTube and Facebook, but we are on Instagram at the Hannibal TV.
What is it? What's your Instagram?
At the Hannibal TV.
At the Hannibal TV.
Yeah.
What do you post? Do you do you working out, or you just post like your guests? What's your?
I post more women working out, and lately some other stuff too.
Oh shit! So that means I gotta go check it out.
No, yeah, you don't even want to see it, but.
Oh shit! Okay, I'm gonna have to look at it and see what you're into. Okay.
No, we post clips of these and so forth, but we're mostly on YouTube and Facebook where we air these videos.
I think I'm trying to think who I saw. Who did I see you interviewing? Do you do pro? Are you mostly an athletic, like pro wrestlers and stuff like that, or what's your
combat sports? But we do some UFO interviews and some paranormal interviews.
Okay, maybe it was a UFC somebody I saw with. Yeah, but you're very well known and liked for your interviews, and you're just like down to the brass.
I'm the most popular combat sports interviewer from Canada on YouTube.
Oh, so. Right on. How long have you been doing this?
10 years, I guess.
Damn, you've been doing this 10 years?
Yeah.
Do you have a combat sport background? So you have to have something. You must have done something. Wrestling
and amateur wrestling and some kickboxing, but not much.
Okay. Did you wrestle in high school or college?
Yeah. And I did the Olympic trials and was the alternate for the London Games. And I was former national champion in freestyle.
No shit. Congratulations. When was that? What year was that?
Oh, a long time ago. 2001 and then 2012 I made my comeback. I came back for a year, like 10 years after I had stopped amateur wrestling. I decided to start again and do tournaments for 1 year.
Dude, that's fantastic. So you must be in your 40s, right?
39.
39. Okay. Right on. That's good. So you understand all this stuff and all that. Can you imagine doing that sport and putting a TV in front of you while you're doing it, and just the pressure of having to act, and it's a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot.
I would have loved American Gladiators to have been on that, to be honest. It looks like so much fun.
Are you big dude or are you short dude?
I'm 6'4".
So you've been Gladiator material.
Yeah. Wow. I did apply for one of the more recent ones, but they weren't taking Canadian applications because I'm in Canada. You had to have like an American work visa.
Oh shit! Yeah. Are you jacked right now?
Not to where I used to be, but I'm 264. I used to be around 280. But
do you have any abs?
Yes.
Oh my god! Let me see. Come on, let me see. Okay, let me just zip that sucker. Look, I got some still. I still got some.
Yours are good. Yours are good.
Come on, let me see it. Let me see it.
There's tons of videos.
Can you have a peek? Just give me a peek.
No, I'm too shy.
Come on,
man. My chest isn't shaven. My chest is not shaven right now.
Quit being such a princess. Show the packets. Let's go.
Oh, come on.
Show me afterwards, okay? Show me afterwards.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to tell the fans here as we wrap this up?
No, I just appreciate everybody just listening. If you've listened to this whole thing, it's just been great. I have experienced so much, and I'm ready to experience more and just keep on going. And just say some prayers, man, for the Gladiator show. It will mean a lot to my friends, Dan Carr and Johnny Ferraro, who I became really good friends with over the past year. And, people change and evolve and all that stuff. But the show, it does have really good people in it with really good hearts. And so to bring that back up, breathes life into a bunch of people that deserve to have some more life breathed into them, just to do more good for others. So just say a prayer that the Gladiators is brought back. Everything's moving forward, and if Vince McMahon has a hand on this, they're gonna make it crazy. So we'll see. Making the superstars the Gladiators, it's hard to think about, but if they're gonna do it, they must have something really, really big and special planned. So and these people that are doing the Gladiators now, the superstars, everybody's about the kids and being good role models and stuff like that. It's a lot different than when I was there. Just like the partying aspect, everybody kind of keeps that stuff private now because there's a lot of kids. It's going to be a lot of fans that are kids watching the show again. So hopefully it'll go through and just everybody keep everybody in their thoughts. Moving forward with Vince McMahon and stuff. So we'll see about it. We'll see.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And if you ever want to come back on, you know how to reach me. But to close this off, since you're pretty good at cutting promos, let's say you were going to meet Charlotte or Ronda Rousey as a gladiator. What would you say to them?
Wait, who would I be? Who would I be?
If you were a gladiator or a contender and you were matching up against them, what kind of promo would you cut on them?
Oh, dude, I love you. I'm sorry, but I gotta kill you later.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please help me out and like this video.